Welcome to this new edition in Lexi Originals, where we try to look back in the timeline, where we see about history's, or rather cricket's world's most grandest and ancient rivalries in the sport. Welcome to Ashes, the saga. Well, talking about the Ashes, well, the history goes back to probably more than 140 plus years back in the timeline. In the 19th century, in 1877, when England and Australia have played their only match, when England, who so-called have invented the game themselves, are very good at it. But what happened in the following tour literally changed the picture of cricket. Literally, in 1882, when a touring Australian side had beaten England in a rather very thrilling manner with a slender margin of 7 runs. Um, a slender margin of 7 runs, and the English media got really riled up, and they really were pissed off because it's their game, literally. It's they cannot lose. So the Sporting Times back then had famously wrote the article where they said "Rest in peace" of English cricket, and the Ashes have been taken back to Australia. So that is when the first time the term Ashes had been coined from Sporting Times, literally. And the following tour, when England had to tour Australia, it's so-called almost it's been built up or hyped up as so-called regaining the ashes of English cricket. And that is when the entire team that got lost to Australia at the Oval had been sacked, and a new young English captain, Ivor Blige, has been made the captain. And he so-called went back to Australia, famously had won the series, and regained the ashes, so-called, in the English media. That is when the whole ashes concept had begun, and since then there have been a lot of moments across timeline, before the World War, after the World War. A lot of famous personalities, a lot of famous series down under, and in the English cloudy skies as well. One such tour is 1931-32, where it's famously referred to as the Bodyline series, when the English bowlers just peppered the Australian fast bowlers, the Australian batsmen. And literally, they were with no equipment of protection back then. It was such a series where it was almost, it looked like the death is staring at you. That kind of a Bodyline series was a very serious one. And who cannot forget uh, the famous Sir Donald Bradman, one of the famous personalities in cricket, no matter across timelines. Astonishing average of 99, and he played most of his cricket in the Ashes, and he averaged 99, falling just 4 runs short. Literally, he ran out of his team at the end. When he had scored 4 more runs, it would have been an astonishing average of 100, and the 99 is no less, rather, for achievements already. So he's a very famous personality, and his his form never dipped. I mean, there's World War II happening at one side, and cricket could not be played. But whatever, pre-war, post-war, he's the same. That is Sir Donald Bradman for you. And there are few series. The 1971 series, when England started hitting the Australians, with Bob Willis, the main villain, right there, uh, hitting the Aussie batsmen, and the Aussies the next door were famously responding with Dennis Lilly and the surprise element in Jeff Thompson, where they both have peppered literally the English batsmen in the next door, and they literally, this showed hell to the English batsmen, especially Jeff Thompson, that series, who came in as a surprise element. literally ended one of famous cricket's commentators in David Bumble Lloyd. If you know him, and he had to start his coaching career in commentary very soon. Rather, he played only 2 years in international cricket. Such is the significance of the series. That series, I think, although England have lost the series, but it it showed a new face of English cricket in Tony Greig. He's a very resolved captain. Although they haven't won the Ashes, but Tony Greig having got the famous 100 at the Gabba in 74-75, it really was a statement. Is a very good all-rounder. The one mistake I still think that he did was when he hit Dennis Lillee, but he hit Dennis Lillee on the wrong elbow, on his left elbow, and in the third innings of that test match, I think it was at the Gabba, uh, at the following series, and Dennis Lee just kept storming at English batsmen. And the fourth innings, and England were just rattled by a storm called Dennis Lillee. There was a famous incident that happened back in the 70s, and then came, then came this famous slogan: "Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If Lillee don't get you, Tom must." So there's a very famous saying from which Mark Nicholas famously recalled in the documentary of the Ashes. And I think this is the same phase when Australia kind of lost the plot a little bit with the Kerry Packers revolution, with commercializing of the game, of the modern game, with World Cricket Series underway, with the topmost Australian cricketers haven't been available for them, and it just Australia have just lost the plot a little bit in the 78, 79. And when they're trying to regain themselves, then came the 81 Ashes, and he famously knows as Ain Botham beat the Ashes. Really, he really took the world to storm. He just there's no one stopping him really. Especially, I think it was at the Oval where England are tottering really when I think James Smith had joined Sir Ian Botham, and they stitched on, and Botham just kept slogging, and the poor Aussie captain back then, he could not change his feed, and he just kept slogging, and balls just kept flying over the slips, just kept flying over mid-off, mid-on, which are inside the circle, and he just made a statement there, and he just carried on to make his own series. And you're special when you have an Ashes series named after you. There's a very famous Ian Botham's Ashes, and in '92 there was this Boxing Day Test match which England have won a thriller. Really, they won by 3 runs, but Australia have regained the Ashes by then already. So I think that series goes down under as well. And 89, the Rebel Tour of a few English cricketers, and English purists having a very tame time at the time when the Rebel Tour to South Africa with topmost cricketers were going, and it was a very bad time for English, and so followed the 90s. The 90s are very bad for English cricket, where the Aussies kept hammering at them literally. The Nasser Hussain, the Michael Appleton, the Frasers, the Alex Stewarts, they all kept trying. I mean, they all tried, but the Aussies in the 90s and the early 2000s is literally unbeatable. They're literally called the Invincibles. Now, if you beat Australia, it's like you've won a World Cup, and such is the significance of the Aussie side in the 90s. And then came, I think, in the 2005-2006 Ashes.